Get ready.
Welcome, everybody, to the I saw this in a movie about a bus that had to speed around the city, keeping its speed over 50, and if its speed dropped, it would explode. I think it was called The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down, the podcast.
I held that in when you tried to get all that up because I realized where you're going with it so soon.
Yes, everybody, welcome to a perfectly cromulent Simpsons show. Two lifelong Simpsons fans sit down and talk about an episode of The Simpsons. Today, we talk about episode 19, season 3.
Episode 3? No.
I'm just really good at this. But before we get into it too much, make sure you check out our social media grams. What's great about us is we've become far more known for our Simpsons clips than our podcast. So check us out on social medias.
Go check out our clips. We're good at picking out clips.
Yes, everything is at Cromulent Show. I have become very into finding old either syndication or original promos for the episode. So that's been kind of something I've been liking to do in the last 2 episodes, and I will continue as best I can.
I like those. I like it
too because so for the last one I did one of the originals. So it's clearly like Harry Shearer going like Marge Simpson, blah blah blah. But then the other ones are always like, find out what Homer's up to this week, this Friday at 7:30 on UPN 59. So it's like, I love those heavy syndication. Like, I just read what it says in the TV guide. Yeah. And then we get like the super custom. But anyway,
that's specific. But yes. You know what? If everybody wants to support us that's listening here, if you go follow us on places like YouTube, we might get monetized one day. So, everybody watching those clips and following us, you are super supporting us. So thank you very much for anyone that is listening right now and then goes, oh, they have a YouTube? Let me go do the YouTubes because that will help us in the long run.
You're like so confused that we have a YouTube. You're like... So, yes, everything is at Cromulent Show. You can also email us if you'd like to, cromulentshow@gmail.com. We've never received an email. I'm fingers crossed that we never do, but it's there if you need it. This is episode 19, season 3, episode 54 overall. 8F17 is our production code. This episode is called Dog of Death. It sounds a lot more, sounds like a lot more ominous.
Biblical? Like biblical almost, right?
That's never really where I go first, but yes, now that you said it, 100% it does. This aired March 12th, 1992, written by one of our favorites, John Swartzwelder, and directed by Jim Reardon. The chalkboard gag is I saw nothing unusual in the teacher's lounge.
Lies.
And the couch gag is Homer lying across the couch and everybody coming laying on top of him. And he does like the little suffocating arm. Oh, help me. No guest stars in this episode, but that's okay. We focus in somewhere where we have yet to focus in our nearly 3 complete seasons. Really quickly stepping outside of the episode, the number 1 song in the U.S. At that time was "To Be With You" by Mr. Big. Are you familiar?
Yes.
I wasn't familiar until I heard the hook. I literally put it on today and I was like, what is this? And then it hit the hook and it was like, oh yeah.
I
know one who wants to be with you. Yeah.
I'm just old enough.
I hope you feel it too.
I'm just old enough that like high school dances and like community center, so near where I live, there was like one night a week there was like a teenage nightclubby type of thing in the community center that all the teenagers went to because you could TV to your parents like, I won't be home until midnight because that's when the youth night at the night, and anytime it was supposed to be quote unquote romantic, some person would go and request that song from like the Much Music Dance Party people, because the Much Music Dance Party people were like, so they had all the big screens and stuff so you could totally dance like you were in a nightclub, but somebody would inevitably choose that song. And what's that other song? That one, More Than Words. Like
More Than Words.
Yeah. So both songs a little bit older than
everybody, you could check out my album coming out in the spring.
So both songs weren't like the newest songs when this was
Right, right,
happening,
right.
but they were those songs that people knew, that people
Yeah,
associated
yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, it's like if you were a kid in the 80s, you might like look to like a teenager in the 80s, you might throw on something from like the 70s, like the slow
Sure, sure,
jazz,
sure.
like Sexy Time, some
Yeah.
Barry White,
I still
same
put on Barry
difference.
White.
Same difference, but we're a bunch of punk kids who listen to alternative music, so
Yeah.
these ones seem like better options for us.
I grew up in the pop punk era for sure, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, this
Right?
was one I definitely put on and was listening. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard the song in my life. And then it hit the
And then the
hook and I was
hook.
like, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know this part.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why it
Yep.
stuck around this long.
Exactly.
So
It's got that vibe, right?
that is dethroning, I think, for 2 episodes, I'm Too Sexy, which has been the number
Yeah.
one
I'm
song,
Too
right?
Sexy was
Yes.
out there for a
Some
while.
nostalgia with us to 1992, where you skip from I'm too sexy for my shirt to I'm the one who wants to be with you. We're just a country of love, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
Man, take us back.
See, no,
Uh,
but that no, wait, that trends, right? Because you're out there and you're flaunting your sexiness, trying to hook someone in
right,
with
right.
the right set, and then once you got them close, then you're all like, you put on the one who wants to be with you
And
when
then
they're
you guilt
close,
them
you
into
get them
it too.
alone.
And I hope you fucking feel it too.
Right? Right?
All right, go ahead and mark that down. 6 minutes for our YouTube clip. The number one movie this week, still Wayne's World. Still Wayne's World.
That's
This
because
movie would
Wayne's
gross
World's the tour core.
$183 million on a $20 million budget.
It did good. It
Great.
did
That's
very well. And you know what?
fantastic.
I still think it holds up nowadays. It makes me happy when I watch it. It's got classic tunes in it, and it's got timeless jokes like New Print, although I don't think New Print exists anymore.
Yeah. No stairway. So for this particular day, however, Wayne's World was outsold by the movie The Medicine Man, which has Sean Connery with a ponytail.
Right? Yes, which was number one the first week it came out, I think a couple weeks ago or whatever. So it must have had there must have been like some extra
Some
you know
push.
how they used to do that, right? Like the trailers would drop off and then all of a sudden the trailers would come back after it'd been out for a little bit, right?
That last little like, hey, we've been in the theaters for 4 months. It's about to leave. You might want to come check this out.
Go check it out.
Remember, really quickly go on a tangent. When Jurassic Park came into theaters, I was like 5.
Yeah.
But I saw my grandfather took me like 3 times to see it in theaters. Like, what a fucking legend. I know he did not care for the movie that much. But anybody, and we could probably check it. It felt like 15 years, but I'm pretty sure that movie took like 14 months to come out on home video. It was in theaters.
I think it was a long
time. So long.
Well, plus
and so I remember the night that it came out on VHS. I didn't know. Obviously, I was 6 years old. So
did it show up at your house?
I wasn't like, you're reading Fangoria, waiting for like, oh man, it's coming out on this day. Yeah. So my grandpa showed up at I remember it was like 8 p.m. and I was about to go to bed and I was like, Mom, please, I have been waiting so long. She was like, all right. And I fell asleep 5 minutes into it, but
it was in theaters for so long, and part of that was because the theaters all had a bunch of them all got redone and stuff like that. They got like new stereo, like new sound equipment and stuff like that, right? So you could feel the rumbles.
I was gonna say they had to for this movie.
They had to. So I guess they had. I guess part of the long theater run, not only it being successful, but was also we need to pay for all this extra equipment that we brought into our tiny
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
The number one book in America, I'm a reader, I like to put the books in there, is Pelican Brief, which is a legal suspense thriller by John Grisham. Yeah, I'm not a huge Grisham fan, but I have heard nothing but good things about his books. This is his third novel and published the same year.
It's a good movie too, The Pelican Brief. It's a good movie.
So there we go. There's our look back at 1992. Let's get into this episode.
I feel old. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah. I feel so old.
So we start this episode with probably the best commercial for the lottery of all time, where an employee walks into his boss and says, "Boss, I don't need your crummy job. I've just won the lottery." And he's like, "Well, who needs employees? I won the lottery too." And then the window washers come down. "We won the lottery too. Why don't you win the lottery?" And it's like the state lottery slogan is "where everybody wins." And then the tagline is "actual odds of winning are 1 in 380 million."
It's so big odds.
Yeah. Those are some really big odds. I think those might actually be smaller than the actual odds. So the gang at Moe's is watching the commercial. That's where Homer sees it, of course. I like Moe's just so like condescending towards it. The state lottery, exploiter of the poor and ignorant. Click turns on the like drink cold beer sign or whatever.
Beer is
Here's
the answer.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I wouldn't mind having that sign. Like, I don't drink a ton of beer, but I would love to have that
Right.
sign.
Barney says to Homer, I have the jackpot's up to 130 million. And Homer's like, 130 million? And then Barney says, did you say 130 million? So the whole bar goes fucking nuts for it. They, clearly the lottery rush is on.
Lotto fever, right?
It's
Lotto
not
fever.
it's not just at Moe's, it's everywhere. It's clearly taken over Springfield because we next cut to the Quickie Mart where Apu is like, thank you for knocking over my inventory. It's just things are crashing around him.
There's tons of people in there, way more than there should be, right?
Yeah,
like, it's
for sure. There is Homer's trying to like think of numbers. He calls Bart. How old are you? And what's your birthday? Oh, no kidding. And what's Lisa's birthday? What? You don't know your sister's birthday? What kind of brother are you? So yeah, it's fantastic. Apu tells Sanjay to snap on the bulletproof vest. It's time for another bank run. I got to tell you, as somebody who worked retail and had to do many bank runs, I never got a bulletproof vest.
Maybe you should have had one.
There were some times in the holidays were legit. Like I would leave to go do a bank run and be like, there's like $7,000 in this envelope. Like, what the fuck? Why am I taking this to the bank? Why is an armored truck coming to pick this up?
It's like, I feel like I could get mugged.
100%. And then Party was also like, how can I say I lost this and not get in trouble, but get to keep it?
Would anybody notice if like $200 went missing? Yeah. I'm not a greedy person. Okay, I'm not greedy.
Yeah, it was always because it was in the sealed envelope. I'd have to hit the super troopers. You boys like Mexico?
Yeah.
It was just take off. The schnozberries taste like schnozberry.
I love that.
So yeah, it's going off at the Quickie Mart. Apu is sending Sanjay to go to the bank with his bulletproof vest on. He literally does strap on a bulletproof vest.
Yep. Puts the money under it, I think, too. Like, puts it under the vest.
Protects the money, too. Sanjay says that he'll do it. He just asks that Apu makes a promise not to sleep with his wife. And Apu says, I promise nothing.
Yeah, I love that, too.
Listen, as much as I'd like to do the accent,
don't do it.
Because I grew up doing it. No, I know. Like I have mad respect for everybody on The Simpsons and the decisions they've made. It has definitely thrown me off to hear Dr. Hibbert be like just totally not Dr. Hibbert.
Not Dr.
It basically
Hibbert.
don't do Apu at all anymore.
I do miss Apu though. Like I seriously for real miss Apu.
I get the problematic of it, but growing up doing this impression was never like I was never intentionally, at least, trying to hurt anyone.
No,
and it's
but it's
so
hard
every time you say something as Apu, not to just hit the Apu accent. So if I do a little bit, everybody, please know that I have nothing but the best intent in my heart, and it is nothing but just my old Simpsons impressions ways. I do my best to do my best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Apu says he promises nothing. We go back to the Simpson residence, and basically Homer's trying to convince Marge that he's got a feeling they're gonna win the lottery. Like, this is it. And Marge is like trying to interject, and he's like, I know you're excited. Calm down. Listen to me carefully. Go get all your money.
Yeah, like he's really invested.
Yeah, I buy one ticket a week with the girls at the hair salon. We each play our birthday. And it's at this point where we kind of get the beginning of the actual part of the episode. We see Santa's little helper like sheepishly walk by, kind of hurting.
Yeah,
it's fucking sad. On our Instagram,
as shit.
Yeah, on our social medias, I put something about I Married Marge being a heart-wrenching episode. This is the heart-wrencher.
This hurts more. Yeah. This hurts more. As
So,
somebody that has had dogs, you too, right? It's like the pain
oh
you
yeah.
feel when you see that. You're just like,
I
ouch,
mean,
my heart.
if anybody's seeing video at all, right here are the ashes of my dogs I lost a few years ago. Like, very
Mine are
important to me. Yeah,
mine are
it's
right
like
over there. Mine are not far away. They're just on the other side of the
if the
room.
camera pointed up, I paid an ungodly amount of money to have a stuffed animal that looked exactly like one of my dogs when it first passed made. So, people, no dog
We,
dies in this episode. Please hang with us. We're just kind of getting a little sad boy here,
we're
but
just sad,
yeah.
yeah. It brings back memories we don't like.
I think anybody who is in their, I have to guess our demographic is closer to our age than, the
Yeah.
younger. Anybody who is our age who has had pets has experienced the loss by now.
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah,
40
yeah,
and
yeah.
has their childhood pet anymore. Sorry.
No,
I wish you
no.
guys did
You
so
would
bad. Unless you
oh
have a
well,
fucking macaw or something, which,
yeah, I was
hey,
say if
like,
you have a parrot, if you have a parrot, you might
yeah,
still
yeah.
have that thing and it might
Or
outlive
like
you.
tortoise or whatever. But, if your childhood dog, you'll
They're
never
not
forget
the
it.
ones I
And
care.
my personal, like, the hardest loss for me was these ones. They were like
Yeah.
my first
They're
dogs as an adult.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I got
Mine
my own
too.
place, I got a backyard. I'm fucking getting dogs now. And
Yeah.
and
Those
and
were the those are the
they were
2
my
that were
kids' first dogs.
yeah.
So yes, big deal. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's
Uh,
how I feel about mine too. You're all right.
yeah,
They were
yes.
mine,
Yes, 100%. Rest in peace, Macazoe and Kristen's dog.
Murray and Wicket, because
There we
Wicket like
go.
the Ewok, because she looked like an Ewok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wicket with it. So yes, Homer's dead set. He's gonna win it. Marge is like, we play our ticket. We don't really need to go crazy. Reminds Homer that they're on a tight budget. Don't get carried away. Yes, money. I mean, honey. It's when Homer's really trying and still can't do it that I really
Yeah.
love. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. um, we go to the news report, and right as it comes on, Santa's little helper pops in front of the TV and down in front, and then he just collapses in the
Collapses.
sploot too, like all four legs out to the side.
Starfish.
Yeah. Kent Brockman reports that every copy of Shirley Jackson's The Lottery has been checked out of the library.
I love that because it's like one of the short stories that I clearly remember reading in high school, The Lottery, because
I was gonna say
was.
it is a good Shirley. If you like kind of horror, kind of existential shit, Shirley Jackson's a great read. Has nothing to do with a lottery that you're thinking of.
Nothing to do with the lottery that you're thinking of.
But here's the thing about the Shirley Jackson lottery. I totally don't remember what it's about. I just remember
Oh,
reading it.
I can tell
So
you really like in like 2 sentences. I can tell you.
let's
So
go.
a town has a festival every
I
year to
remember now.
ward away bad spirits and
I
stuff like
remember
that.
now.
And they have a big celebration in every household. And she doesn't tell you what's going to happen for the longest time, just that there's a lottery and every household has to enter it. And then from the household, they pick one person from one of the house, like every family. So like extended family as well. Then from every family, they pick one household. Then from every one household, they pick one person. And that one person wins the lottery. I mean, spoiler alert, don't listen for 5 seconds, but the person that wins the lottery gets stoned to death to keep the bad spirits away and stuff. So like but in the meantime, they're having like barn dance. Like there's like to celebrate this, there's like a barn dance and like carnival and stuff being put on by like the high school students and stuff like that. Like it's a really grand like when you're reading it the first time, you're like, "Oh, is someone gonna win like something really happy?" And then you're like, "Oh my god, she's being stoned to death." You know,
Yeah.
it's brutal. It's brutal.
And it's by far not Shirley Jackson's most popular story, but great. She also we've always lived in the castle and the Haunting of Hill House. Those are probably
Yes.
her two most popular. Also
Oh,
fantastic.
really? I didn't know the Haunting of Hill House was hers.
Yeah,
Oh, but also just
no.
as a side note, there's an episode of the awesome TV show Sliders where they go to a parallel dimension where every time you get money out from like you can take as much money as you want, but every time you take the money, you get a lotto ticket or like you get entered into a draw, and then the draw means you get killed. Like who? So it's like kind of the same spin on her lotto story, right? Where you can take as much money as you want, live a great life, but then your name's going to get entered again and again and again for the draw. So you'll have more draws in the lotto, and then if you win, you
forgot
die.
about Sliders.
Core memory unlocked by bringing up
Damn,
random
Jerry
sliders.
O'Connell at his finest. He had like the greatest late 90s haircut.
Oh, he was good in that. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
No, you're
Uh,
great.
but yes, check out Shirley Jackson. I'm a big reader, you guys. So generally, when there's something like about, especially horror literature, I'm like, let's just stop and talk about this a little bit.
Let's
Uh,
investigate this.
yeah, yeah. I like how I say I'm the big reader, but Kristen reminded me what the book was about. Uh, I just read so much. It's always that's how it always is too. I'll be like, did I read this? And I'll go read the
Yeah.
synopsis, and I'll get one sentence. I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking
It's
read
like,
this.
I remember this
Yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
It's like when you can't place a song and then you hear like you hear that one note and you're like, oh wait,
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah.
I know this
Like
song.
you hear, I'm the one that wants to be with you.
And then you're like, oh
Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
song.
So Kent Brockman's reporting that all of Shirley Jackson's a lottery. They've been checked out. Never mind the fact that it has absolutely nothing to do with the lottery. Homer, which is going to be a running gag through the episode. I can't remember how many times I mentioned it, but he throws a book into the fireplace like 3 times this episode.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. That's the first book. The lottery.
Yes,
The
the
first book.
lottery by Shirley
Fire.
Jackson is the first book that's thrown into this constantly lit fireplace.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah,
Lotto
but the
Fever
stark
has
lunch
hit
winner,
Springfield.
our state school system, which gets fully half the profits from the library, and so from the lottery. Sorry.
Lottery.
Yeah. Then we see Skinner talking with the teachers.
I
You have
love
any
it.
idea what we could buy with this? History books that know how the Korean War came out, math books that don't have the base 6 crap in them, and a state-of-the-art detention hall that holds up. He holds up to the scale model. He's already
Yeah, and
got
this
it.
it looks like a prison, like full
Yeah,
on with like barbed
for
wire,
sure. Yeah, where
like
the children are
everywhere.
held in place with magnets. I like the one
I,
teacher you never seen before or ever see again says, "Always with the magnets."
I also like that the detention center doesn't just kind of give you the feeling of a prison. It also has like the lookouts, like the 4 lookouts on the 4 corners of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
wall,
yeah.
like where the
It's
snipers
like the
would
sentry
be.
towers.
Yeah.
100%. Um, Skinner. He was a prisoner of war at Vietnam, so we can't, hold this stuff
Yeah.
too tough on him.
Oh, the hippie teacher's in that scene too, but the hippie teacher doesn't talk, but he
Right,
appears
but
in
it's
that
this
scene.
other teacher who I'm like, who?
Random,
Who the hell
random
are you?
teacher. Yeah.
Get rid of this base 6 crap. Um, yeah, I'm looking at the prison right now too. It does look like very like take the American flag off and put that on Tatooine. Yeah, like you're boom. It's yeah. Yeah, there's the black teacher who I don't recognize with the elbow patch
Patches.
cardigan. Yeah. And then
I
this
have one of
teacher,
those. They're awesome.
magnets, always with the magnets. And I'm like, well, I want to know more about Skinner's magnet obsession. So it becomes lottery time. Oh no, sorry. Homer's convinced that like having bought $50 worth of tickets, like that's for sure, because it's like it's a 1 in 380 million chance. Like 380 million in 50.
Yeah.
And then he
But he
asks,
thinks this is great. His odds are awesome.
yes, he asked the kids what they're gonna do with their money, and Bart says he'd put it in the bank. Lisa says she'd give it to the poor. Homer scoffs and like, what do you kids know about money? And he dreams about becoming the biggest man in the world and being plated in 14 karat gold and takes over Mr. Burns. And there's like almost everybody has probably seen this still of Homer where he's all gold and covered in the jewels. Like it's a very like I've seen the still a million times on non-Simpson stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like that's what would bring this episode back around to you guys, is seeing this still. But yeah, that's Homer's dream, is to become the world's largest man and be made of gold.
Yep. I mean, it's a decent dream.
He gets
Let's be
covered in
honest.
jewels by the end. So yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Damn it, you're not wrong, Kristen. I just like to Lenny. What do you? Is it you just covered in some kind of gold? 14 karat. Oh man.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just dying for a second.
Just so you guys listening know, I'm usually running through the episode at the exact time, so sometimes I'll kind of get hung up watching it a little bit,
and just
that's what I was just
laughing.
doing, because I'm at the part where Lenny's like, Homer goes in, take a hike, boss.
So when he comes back from his daydream and he's laughing, the first thing you see in the corner of the screen is Abe, and I did not realize that Abe was there before they started
That's because he
talking.
wasn't. I don't
Thank
think.
you. Also,
That's
I just noticed that when they come back from the dream and they're sitting there, everybody else doesn't have a tray for their food like Homer does. But
Homer's
all
been daydreaming that long.
yeah,
Oh, you
but
mean like Homer's got the
no,
TV tray out front?
it's
And they've
the
all got it in
TV
their
tray.
laps.
Yeah, but also they didn't give him food. He's just got his lotto tickets on the
He ate
tray.
that during his dream.
Dream during the dream. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Abe's there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
where did Abe come from? But
Yeah, you just got to
anyway,
fill up that room. So then it's lottery time. Kent Brockman goes to the lottery live. We switch over to the police station where the phone rings. Nah, this is 912. We see Krusty and Mel also watching the drawing, and it will be 1 minute, kids. Uh, the first number comes up and it's 17. And I don't know if this means that Homer picked 17 as the first number on every one of his lottery tickets, which is right the worst possible. Like,
why would you buy all the same number on all
but
the
it does seem
tickets?
that was what Homer did. So he tears up his tickets, and Marge's like, "Well, you can still win something if you match 5 of 6. The second number is 3." And then Homer just hits us with a good old. He tears up his tickets. It's I knew we wouldn't win, says Grandpa. Well, are you keeping this information? What are you keeping secrets?
How did you know?
Yeah. And then he looks at Bart and's like, if you were 17, we'd be rich. But no, you had to be 10. The final number is drawn, and when it is, Kent Brockman realizes that it is his ticket that has won the lottery.
And he's
we
so
also,
happy.
yeah, he is very happy. We also learn Kent Brockman's salary later, and I'm like, holy shit. For 1992. So he celebrates, regains his composure. Recapping our day's top story, the winner of today's state lottery is me, Kent Brockman. Can we get a shot of me? And it's the shot of him from like 20 seconds earlier when he's celebrating winning the lottery. Yeah. There we go. He sets his ticket aside, tries to continue with the rest of the news, but he can't really stand it anymore. He dashes off. My favorite part is it's like 17 are dead in Cleveland after a terrible mistake. He's
goodbye.
Yeah, and Marge is, ever the positive mother, says, at least we've still got each other.
Ugh, gross.
And that's when we hear Grandpa announce that the dog is dead. The family rush over to find Santa's little helper on the kitchen floor, slumped over, not moving much. He's not dead, but he is very weak. Grandpa again refuses to admit his mistake. I like that he's not dead. He's still breathing. He's wagging his tail. I'm tired of this conversation. Let's talk about something else. I'm going home. And then Grandpa leaves. So he's there for that one. He's there to discover SLH. Like that's why Grandpa was back after the lottery.
Yeah, that's it.
We all would be sitting around watching this, and Grandpa would have wandered off to do that.
Yeah.
Jim Reardon on the DVD commentary commented that one of the hardest feats with the episode was to make Santa's little helper not express any human expressions, as the staff preferred animals on the show to behave exactly the way they do in real life, except Poochie.
Oh, except for Poochie's an abomination.
So I guess, I guess that was like something they went for a lot, was like not giving animals human characteristics in their face,
smiles,
and the way they moved.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, such a realistic show you are, Simpsons. Thank you so much for
that. Way to be super realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you could have made them laugh if you wanted to. It'd have been fun. We would have all not been mad at you.
I think in like later years, I'm almost sure that there's times where maybe they don't make them like give them full on expressions, but there's definitely like some eyes and stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, clearly, Santa's little helper, very ill. They take him to Springfield Animal Hospital, where the theme song for the show Ben Casey plays.
I knew you'd know. I knew you would have like the info on that.
I didn't know about it because I'd never watched the 1961 television show Ben Casey. But basically, the way it's described to me, it sounds like a house, but 45 years earlier.
That trends. Like that makes sense.
It said it's like basically it says It was a show about from 1961 to 1966, and the one sentence elevator pitch is it's a doctor versus the establishment.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
oh,
mean,
so House.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like doctor shows have been around forever, and I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
honestly didn't think that we had early 60s doctor shows. So that was,
yeah,
I
they've
don't know
been around
why.
forever. But like, and it feels like to me there's always a pattern. Like here's one where it's like all it's just it's like this, and it's always like this, and then like that style dies away for a bit, and a new one will come out. Like look at this smart doctor or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind
This
of like
guy's only 14.
yeah, it's like Doogie Howser and the Good Doctor, right, or whatever that is. It the good is that one called the Good
Is that
Doctor?
the
Or
one with the kid who played young Patrick Bateman
I think so. The one where he's
in
supposed to be
Bates
autistic
Motel?
or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
so it's
yep.
like, very same type of theme, like same variations on the same type of theme, right? Like
Sure.
somebody that you think may not make a
Some
brilliant
type of
doctor, but they
savant.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
totally
and
get
they
that.
just kind of keep going through. There's angry doctor. There's underfunded hospital. That's a big one. That one pops up a lot, right? Underfunded hospital.
Or super sex quadrilateral,
Yep.
ER, Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then there's all like there's all the shows like all the soap operas like General Hospital, right? Where
Oh yeah.
it's
And
super dramatic
the
every day.
in-tweens, my wife watched
Yes.
The Resident.
Yes, The Resident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
a watch. And then you've got Scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs, which is delightful.
Right. That's a
I
good
do
little
enjoy some
palate cleanser. Although there are some very sad episodes on that show too.
yeah, but what's his face is so funny on there, the one that plays the grumpy doctor, and I always forget the actor's real name, but he's also in, like, Office Space and all that, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
so funny, he's
He
so
is
good in that.
fantastic.
Anyway,
So
continuing
if
on.
you were familiar with the Ben Casey show, which is now would have ended 59
Maybe you like
years
watching
ago.
old TV and you know it, okay?
For sure. I didn't even actually go back and listen to the theme song itself. I heard it in the episode. I get it.
Yeah, fair enough,
So
fair enough.
also the vet himself looks, I don't know why I didn't write the actor's name down. They modeled him to look like Ben Casey. So the vet
Yeah.
himself. And also you could tell that he's like not a very Simpson-esque character. He's got like
Yeah,
the
he's a
super
bit
thick
different.
eyebrows and yeah.
He's supposed
Uh,
to make you think of somebody when you see him, and they would have been for, like, the older folk because it's 1992, right? So, like they
100%.
would
This
have
shows half of the age it is now.
yeah, and there totally would have been, like, some adults back then that would have been kids in the '60s that
You're
remembered
totally not
seeing
wrong.
that
You're
dude,
totally
right? Like,
it,
they would be like, "Oh, hey, it's that guy from that show." They might not remember what show, but they'd be like, "I recognize him. He's a TV doctor," you know? Like
it's 100% what we were doing in high school watching The Family Guy.
yeah, yeah.
Like Seth MacFarlane is just a lot closer to our age than John
Then
Swartzwelder is.
yeah.
So those references hit a lot closer to home.
Closer to
So,
home, yeah, for sure. Like Dukes of Hazzard references in
yeah.
the Family Guy, right? Which
Yep.
it hit. You're like, yeah, I remember Dukes of Hazzard.
Them Duke boys are at it again. So when they show up, the Ben Casey doctor is trying to save what looks like a hamster.
Yeah, gerbil, hamster, one of those.
So some small rodent. Hits him with the fucking the paddles. Clear. The zap clearly doesn't help. I don't know if that's ever been a thing for a hamster, but Ben Casey vet says this is the part of the job I hate. Then he takes the hamster and tosses it into the trash can, which has the little basketball hoop.
Yeah, it's got the little basketball hoop on it, right? Like it's not even just like tosses it into the basket. It's like through the hoop. It's a perfect score, by the way.
So great. So
he totally
great.
hits it.
Santa's little helper goes up. He gets diagnosed by Ben Casey vet with a twisted stomach. They tell him that the life-saving operation would be $750. I don't think a twisted stomach is a thing that you would get from a vet, but I'm just saying if you got any surgery from a vet, you could probably just add a 0 to the end of that price, and it's probably a little closer to what the actual surgery cost.
I remember when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, can my dog get a twisted stomach? And then that became my obsession and worry for a few weeks after this episode. I'm like,
I don't know that it's I know bloat is a real thing.
Bloat is the real thing.
Yeah, but whatever.
I'm sure there's
I don't want to think about it.
I'm sure there are other things that are like that, but twisted stomach, it works, right?
Yeah.
Twisted stomach.
So $750, that's a lot for anybody in 1992, especially the Simpsons. Homer says that they're going to talk about it as they carry Santa's little helper out. Bart has kind of got on his horse here, and he's like, well, what's there to talk about? And then they're like
Yeah.
out in the waiting room. We see Krusty with I can't think of his name, Mr. Teeny.
Mr.
Yeah,
Teeny.
Mr. Teeny needs his
Sorry.
refill of nicotine gum. On the ride home, Bart is like, I can't help but notice we're driving away from the veterinarian's office. And Homer changes the subject, and he's like, I want to tell you about the most wonderful place in the world, doggy heaven. In doggy heaven, there are mountains of bones, and you can't turn around without sniffing another dog's butt.
I can't help but think this is actually just like a slight variation on Homer's Perfect Heaven. Like there'd be mounds of donuts, and you can't turn around with like
without
without
falling into
seeing
pork
something else.
chops.
Yeah.
So Bart eventually asks if there's a doggy hell, and Homer tells him, like, for sure, if there can't be a heaven if there's not a hell. And Bart asks who's in doggy
hell.
I think he says in doggy heaven. He's like, oh, it's a Lassie, and he's like lists
like
a couple famous good
like
dogs.
Old Yeller and stuff like that or whatever.
Who's in doggy hell? Hitler's dog, and that dog Nixon had. What's his name? Chester, and Lisa's Checkers. Yeah. One of the Lassies is in there too. The mean one, the one that mauled Jimmy. And then Bart sort of catching on, and he's like, "Yo, does this have anything to do with Santa's Little Helper?" And Marge kind of, interjects sadly, but lets him know that like $750 is a lot of money, and that's just not an operation they could afford at that time. And Bart's like, "You're just gonna let him die?"
I think Bart even covers his ears a bit, doesn't when he says that too. Like Bart's hyper aware. Like he doesn't want Santa's Little Helper to die or be sad.
Yeah, Santos Al
Yeah,
Halper.
He does. Bart covers Santa's Little Helper's like ears when he says, "You're just gonna let him die." He actually covers the dog's ears, which is so like
Bart is
my
Marge's
heart.
special little guy.
Yeah, my heart. I love that. I do actually love that they put that detail in. Like now, like kind of like I don't think I really noticed it until just now, but like I do love that they put the detail in of him covering Santa's Little Helper's ears.
I do that a lot
like
too
that.
with my dogs,
I used
because
to too.
my wife, she loves all of our pets. She's not a pet person. I've sort of thrust it upon her.
Yeah.
She has a rat she loves dearly.
Maybe
and
that will change for her
she
eventually.
loves and takes care of our cats and dogs. Does not like, she's not like over the moon about them every time she walks through the door. Like that's just the way I am. So sometimes she'll be like, "Get out of here," and I'll cover their ears and be like, "Do you want to rephrase that?
Like, don't use that tone to them.
Don't talk to my son like that."
It's like they would never talk to you like that.
For the record, I have human children as well. I just love them all, though. Damn it!
It's like when someone's like, "Oh, the dog can't understand you." The dog can understand everything.
The dog can understand you, especially your tone. If you said
100%.
cinnamon biscuits at him really mean, you would feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Bart's pretty upset. He's like sad enough to like cover his dog's ears about it, right?
Yeah.
I also love that. Yeah, Bart's like, Bart, I know you're upset. Darn right, I'm upset. Bart, watch your language. Oh, you did. Sorry. Bart storms out of the room and calls them a lousy dog killing son of a. Kind of doing the Jesus,
grumbling, walking away.
Yeah, it's totally the Fred Flintstone grumble. Like that's what freaking.
Yeah, like the half said, half not said. You can fill in the blanks.
Homer just suggests that they'll get Bart a new dog, one with an untwistable stomach.
Oh God.
Santa's Little Helper comes over and puts his head on Homer's lap and just sort of whimpers. Homer is just like me. He'd be, it's like, damn it. Like, all right, shit. Yeah. Lousy manipulative dog. So Homer goes to Mr. Burns' office, not to tell him to get out of the way, boss, I'm a giant gold man, but to ask to borrow money. Burns sort of like has his hand right by the button, and he's like, people like dogs, Mr. Burns. Nonsense. Dogs are idiots. Think about it. Oh, no, this is after. Sorry. Homer says, "Oh, you're a nice guy, Mr. Burns," and that like stops him from pressing the button. And then he mentions that he needs to borrow money, and immediately calls it secure.
It's like, and it's like not just like one punch. It's like 1,000. It's like no. Yeah.
That's when Smithers and he are talking, and Smithers are like, "People like dogs, Mr. Burns." He's nonsense. Dogs are idiots. Think about it, Smithers. If I came into your house and started sniffing at your crotch and slobbering all over your face, what would you say? If you did it, sir. Poor gay Smithers. He just
I
loves
know.
Burns
He
so
loves
much.
birds so much.
Oh man. So
I, and at this time, he's not even officially out. At this time, he's just
nah,
like,
he's just a lot of innuendo.
you know,
Um, so we go back to the house where Marge catches Homer reading a canine surgery book and tells him that he's
no.
not going to perform the operation. And he's like, "Come on, it's as easy as carving a turkey." And we get a flashback. Like, we don't get this a ton in The Simpsons, but we get a flashback. And it's Thanksgiving dinner. All the guests are like holding their hands up as Homer's using the electric carving knife to just rip apart the turkey.
Just destroy it.
It's pretty fantastic.
Oh,
Um,
books on the fire.
yeah,
Sorry, I got
exactly.
excited.
Yes, exactly.
I've been
Then he
waiting for this
tosses his
part. I love
canine surgery book into the fire on top of his The Lottery by Shirley Jackson that he clearly got from the library. They had just said,
Yep.
like, the library is out of all of the Shirley Jackson. And he's like, oh, he didn't go buy that. He bought lottery tickets.
Oh,
He checked it
yeah.
out and threw it into the fire.
Bill Cosby's fatherhood is also in the fire, referring
Is it?
back to Saturdays Asunder. Yeah, and the fourth book in the fire is Fahrenheit 451,
How perfect.
which is so for those of you who don't know, it's a Ray Bradbury book about a futuristic American society where books have been outlawed and the firemen burn any that are found. Like that's what the
Yeah.
so
So it's like
the
what we have coming down the line.
so it's a book about people who burn books, which
So a
makes
book
it
about
sound funny.
2026 in America.
Wow.
Um,
So
political
prepared.
jabs. I'm from here, fuckers. I'm allowed to say that. Um,
But I love
so
I love that I do love the fatherhood books in there, and I love that it's I like that I like it when they put smart jokes in there, like the fact that it's Fahrenheit 451, which is a book about burning books. So I
The
don't know.
Simpsons.
Sorry,
I
I'm a
mean,
nerd.
half of these guys went to Harvard.
Right?
Marge is like, she doesn't want Santa's little helper to die. So she says that she finds, because like Homer's like, yeah, we'll get the operation, but we all know Homer. He's not like budgeting it out to get them,
No, he's
figured
not thinking
out.
about how it's going to happen.
No,
He
just
just thinks that
that
the
he
magic
wants to.
money fairy is going to show up and the money will happen and
It
everything will be
does
good.
not. So Marge
No.
says that she found a way for them to pay for it, but it'll entail sacrifices. Homer is going to have
Nobody
to
like
give up,
that.
of all things, beer.
No.
Bart will have to get his haircut for free at Springfield Barber College. Marge will forego her weekly lottery ticket and stretch the food money. I found a way to stretch the food budget. Fried chicken night will now be organ meat night. Ham
Yum.
night will now be spam night. And pork chop night, will now be chub night. Chub? I don't even know what that is. So Lisa's not going to be able to get her volume 4 of Encyclopedia Generica from the grocery store.
Nope. I remember when grocery stores used to do that shit too. Like when when they used to, you could go and buy one every week. You could buy another one.
And this copy is going to go everywhere from Copernicus to elephantiasis. Maggie's baby clothes will have to last a little longer. And Maggie does a little flex that rips her sleeve.
I love that.
Homer's got a plan too. Marge, I found an alternative to giving up my beer. Basically, we become a family of traveling acrobats.
Legit. They could do it. They could so do it.
I believe in them, but Marge didn't. So
No.
the family's waiting outside the animal hospital waiting room. Mr. Danielson, your gamecock has been saved. Sam's little helper goes under the knife. The EKG goes flat, and he starts running down a tunnel of light. Come to the light, boy. He reaches the pearly gates, and it's a doggy door. And right when he gets there, he starts getting pulled back. And as he's getting pulled back, the light's getting dimmer, and we pull out to Santa's little helper, and he's getting mouth to mouth from Ben Casey Vet.
But he's been saved.
He's been saved. Yeah. So he died on the operating table, but he's now gets to immediately after his surgery walk out. That's right. Santa's little helper returns to the world, bandaged around his stomach, but returned to the Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's times like this I'm glad I flunked out of dental school, says Ben Casey Vet. That's so fucked up to veterinarians. But hey, 2 days later, it's lousy chub night. And
Yep.
Homer spots Santa's little helper, and he's like, "Hey, how come he gets meat and we don't? You don't want what he's eating. It's mostly snouts and entrails." Snouts.
I'd say Homer would love it, right? I'm sure he'd
Yeah.
be just fine with like pickled pig's feet or something
Oh,
too.
so gross. Uh, so Kit Brockman is now back on the news report, looking a little different, covered in gold jewelry and like a big fur coat.
He's
Uh,
balling. He's
he is
balling.
balling, like straight up. Well, he's got all the money in the world, but there's one thing he can't buy. What's that? A dinosaur. I think that is when Kent Brockman also mentions that like that he makes $500,000 a year. Like, why would I leave
Oh,
a
right, yeah.
$500,000 a year job? Just it was like, what the fuck? You
What
do
the?
what now?
How does
Jeez.
Springfield pay you that much? Like,
500,000 a year in 1992. I'm gonna do the quick
I'm
math
sure
on
you
that.
got to be pushing 1 million, right? Like,
Oh, it might be more. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see here. I always use U.S. inflation calculator. 500,000
You got all this stuff
today
sitting there ready to go.
is 1.1 million.
He's 1 year of working. But I mean, mind you, whenever they show his house or they show anything to do with him, it's like the most extravagant shit ever.
But
So,
isn't it mostly after this?
oh, you know what? It probably
And he
is.
won
I
the
didn't think
lottery
about
when it
that.
was $130 million.
Oh my God. So
Yeah,
he just
he's
never
got it.
moved out of his big house and all that
Kent
stuff.
Brockman has got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. I'm there with you.
So the next item is Principal Skinner receiving the lottery proceeds. So remember, they get half of the proceeds in the lottery, which is fantastic.
It's
So
awesome.
what he is given by the state lottery board is a new chalkboard eraser.
Go
What, an
eraser.
eraser? Well, I'm used to my government betraying me. I was in Nam. I served for 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kent then announces his numbers 3, 6, 17, 18, 22, and 29. And
This week's
Marge,
lottery.
yeah.
This week's lottery. And I like that Kent jokes that it's like such a smaller, like
Right,
I
right.
can't
The
remember how much it's for.
$40,000 grand
Yeah.
prize. And Marge realizes that those are the numbers she plays every week. And if it wasn't for that dog, she would have won. So that's our first like major hit from
Yeah.
cutting back to spend on Santa's Little Helper,
Yeah.
directly affecting the family.
Yep.
We see Maggie's clothes literally fall apart, just leaving her like naked on the couch.
Naked baby.
Mrs. Hoover tells the class that they all need to write a report on Copernicus, which would have been the opening to Lisa's Encyclopedia Generica.
Yep.
Bart gets a bad haircut at the barber college, which, probably the least of all of those worries.
No, but it cuts off his bad boy spikes.
Yeah, they'll grow back.
Oh gosh.
I always just assumed they were part of his skull. So Santa's Little Helper goes to each family member, and they all kind of tell him to fuck off because they're kind of over him. Marge is busy sewing Maggie's clothes while they're still on her. Lisa is busy reading a third-rate biography of Copernicus she found at the bus station.
Why wouldn't she just go to the library and get out a never mind.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Homer went there already. Bart just says, "Dumb dog," and Santa's Little Helper slinks away. So they're laying in bed that night, and Marge asks Homer if he closed the gate. Yes. And then we hear the gate swinging and slamming closed, but not, it's doing the like slam against itself thing. Oh, you mean tonight? Bart, close the gate. And Bart's like 90% of the seat asleep, and he yells to Lisa, "Lisa, close the gate." Lisa, even further into her slumber, yells out, "Maggie, close the gate." And Maggie's lying in her crib wearing Crown Royal pouch as her onesie. Santa's Little Helper wanders out the gate and takes one last look at the house and of the family that no longer loves him as he heads down the street and into the darkness.
Sad.
Yeah, he like looks up and whimpers, and yeah.
By the way, Crown Royal is totally Canadian. I just want to point that out really quickly.
It is very Canadian.
And that velvet bag, like that was a very special thing back then, the velvet bag. Okay, go on.
Yeah, it's a good place to keep some like Lego pieces.
Yep.
All your
Spare cash, like your change
say
seems
all your paper clips and other accoutrements.
Yep.
Uh,
Cards, deck of cards. A deck of cards fits in there very
see,
nicely if
there
you've
you go.
lost the packaging for it.
There you go. If you want to just punch someone in the face, you put it over and just be like, dude, look inside here. Um, so the family comes out the next morning and starts looking for Santa's little helper. Homer's the first to see him. Wait, there he is. No, that's a horse.
Why is
So
there a horse walking around outside their house?
I don't know. To Peter's theme from Peter and the Wolf, we see. Did you know that?
Oh, is it Peter in the?
Yeah, the
Oh, I
score
did
you
not
get
know.
Peter's theme from Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah,
As
that makes
we
sense.
as
Yeah,
we see
yeah, yeah.
Santa's little helper wandering on a map, he goes down Springfield River into the woods,
Y-
encountering a grizzly bear, very old yeller, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Through Swartzwelder County, he
I was like,
rescues a baby from a burning house.
that's the writer's name. The county
Yep,
is
yep. And I
nod
read
to
an
the
interview
writer.
too that said like John Swartzwelder loves to put his name in the show. It's like
Yeah,
a
so
thing
there
that
you
he really
go.
loves. He rescues a baby from a burning house. I don't know if that's a direct reference, but it's just a classic little dog thing. He chases a cat
Yeah,
and reaches the Michael Jackson Expressway.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You saw that. Okay,
Yep,
good,
yep,
good.
yep.
I had it ready.
Where he or the Leon Kompowski Expressway, maybe we call it. He is picked up by the Springfield Dog Pound because they don't take kindly to dogs floating around like that. Meanwhile, Marge's having trouble finding an acceptable picture of Santa's little helper because all of them are of like Homer kicking him or him biting Homer, or they don't have like a real good one to send out.
No, no.
So we see Ned at Mr. Burns' house feeling about something, I don't know, about recycling or yeah,
Recycling.
exactly.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna sort through all my garbage.
Oh, that's right. And Mr. Burns says, I see you have your running shoes on. Release the hounds. And when he does, Ned takes off running. Now, if you'll notice, Ned is actually wearing the assassin shoes that he purchased in Bart Gets an F.
Oh, yep, yep. That's beautiful.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
So Mr. Burns and Smithers start to look for a replacement dog because of how slow. I can't remember
Crippler.
That's it. Because Crippler's just like an old fat Doberman at this point. It's time to retire.
He's been a good old boy. He's trying to keep up with everyone.
You're not wrong.
Working.
Sometimes you just age out. You just age out of a job, and Crippler did. So Burns and Smithers go to look for a replacement at the dog pound, and they run across Santa's little helper for if me and I'm looking for someone to protect my home. It's not going to be like the scrawniest little greyhound in the pound, but
he's got a proud butt as
yeah.
Burns says he's got a proud butt.
Yeah, here's my fellow, weary, fast, firm, proud buttocks. Reminds me of me. Meanwhile, Homer's posting up a huge sequence of the posters they decided to go with for Santa's little helper. Right when he walks away, the building that he's covered them with is demolished. Are you gonna?
Did you see that when Bart puts up his poster, it's the poster of
Skinner's Have You Seen My Body?
The body from the Bart the Murderer episode. Sorry.
Don't. I forgot to write that in, so I'm glad that you brought it up. 100%.
Have you seen my body? And Bart puts it right over it. Right.
He would.
There are a lot of Simpson references happening in this episode, which is
man, the show gets so meta in 20 years, guys. Hang on. So while Homer's putting his up, it explodes. The building there, it's like a full building implosion. So all of the things that he just put up are just
gone. They no longer exist.
Santa's little helper gets his first lesson as an attack dog, which is neutralizing intruders. Smithers is dressed as a Girl Scout. Want to buy some cookies? Santa's little helper just licks his face.
He's so happy to see him.
Yeah, if that were a real Girl Scout, I would have been bothered by now. Lisa shows Barney a poster. I know how you feel. I lost my dog too. He's in here somewhere. And then you just
hear house is so messy.
Oh, yeah. Santa's little helper is then hooked up to a machine his eyes open wide, a la Clockwork Orange. He
Yep.
watches a like forced violence video, a la Clockwork Orange.
But, like, forced violence against dogs, like
Yeah,
toilet
yeah.
bowls falling on their head, like
Right.
toilet seats
Getting
falling on their
smacked in the
head,
nose by newspaper.
being picked up by their ears and whatnot or whatever,
Yes.
held uncomfortably.
It's just not fair. So basically at this point, the family is kind of resigned to having lost Santa's little helper. Homer's like, that was his dish, and that was his leash, and there's where he took a whiz on the rug. Marge tells Homer to get a hold of himself, even though he has passed on. There's no reason to cry. Remember doggy heaven? Oh, Marge, there is no such place. She's trying to like get him to, hey, the fucking kids, right? And he's like, or to put it another way, there is. Bart says he's not giving up. He doesn't care if he has to knock on every door in this 2-bit town. He's going to find his dog. And Homer will be right there watching TV. So, meanwhile, Mr. Burns is giving his final testing to Santa's little helper by just repeatedly poking him in the face. Success. And then we see a very tan Kent Brockman open his door for Bart. Hello, I'm Kent Brockman. Excuse me, sir. I lost my dog. Mm-hmm. And I suppose you want me to buy you a new one? You never, ever since I won the lottery, everybody wants a piece of Kent Brockman. Homeless this and hungry that. Slams the door in Bart's face.
And his llama just bit Ted Kennedy, which I didn't realize this, but it's actually a reference to something that happened with Michael Jackson when his chimp, Pansy, I don't know why I broke it up, bit Rashida, how do you say her name? The mom from the Cosby Show, I can't,
I'm
whatever
not sure.
Jones.
Rashida?
Sorry. Yeah, that's it. I think that's how you say it. Rashida Jones.
Isn't that Rashida? Yeah.
Is that her?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyways, his monkey bit her, and that's why the llama bites Ted Kennedy. Just like the next part where you see Mr. Burns sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber. That's also a reference to Michael Jackson. Just so you know, because everyone used to say he slept in things like that, right? To look the way he does.
Some rejuvenation.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting that there are like two more. So you have the Michael Jackson Expressway and then two more references to Michael Jackson,
including a llama biting Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, hidden in there.
So we then see Bart head out to Mr. Burns' house and ring the doorbell. I hate to interrupt your longevity treatment, sir, but there's a sweet little boy at the door. Release the hounds. The hounds are released. Santa's little helper is leading the pack. Bart recognizes Santa's little helper, but it is not mutual. Santa's little helper has been brainwashed and made to be an attack dog at this point.
He's very ferocious looking at this point. Like his fur's standing up on his back and he's
his
howling.
hackles are going.
Yeah.
Bart runs and immediately runs himself into a corner at the concrete wall, which the Burns Manor, the last time we were out there, was hedges, but it seems like Mr. Burns has improved security. So Santa's little helper leaps at Bart. It looks like Bart's about to be taken out by his terrorized dog. Then in a doggy flashback, we kind of see all the love for I love you, boy.
Love.
Yeah. Feeding him under the table. And so as he's in the air, he tells him he loves him, boy. And Santa's little helper lands kind of directly on his chest and gives him a couple licks on the face. Yes. And then he turns around and backs down all the Doberman attack dogs that are coming out.
They're ready to eat Bart, right? So he defends Bart. He's like, this is my human,
And he does. We go back to the house where Santa's little helper is being pet by everybody, and Homer's like, come on, let me pet him again. You just got to pet him for the last 10 minutes. I know, but I want to pet him again. So beautiful little moment. And as we pull back from the Simpsons house, we do get a little no dogs were harmed in the filming of this episode. A cat got sick and somebody shot a duck, but that's it. And this episode was based on an experience that writer John Swartzwelder had with his own dog when he was a kid. It suffered from bloat, and unlike the episode, his parents could not afford the surgery, and his poor little dog passed. So yeah, John Swartzwelder lost a dog. So for everybody who's lost a dog, we're sorry we had to go over it in this episode. But yeah, that's the episode. You want to do some trivia? We'll come back around and rate it. We stopped thinking about it for a second. You want to do some trivia first?
Sure. Yeah, I was just going to also point out that John Swartzwelder and Jim Reardon decided to do this episode because they enjoyed working on Simpsons roasting on an open fire. It's like that was kind of like they were like, hey, we really like doing that one. Let's do another dog episode. So that's I thought that's kind of cool, right? That's
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Don't forget our
maybe don't make them so sad for us either.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't also who is our character bio before
I've got that too. I've got it next
you're
on
set
the
up.
list. Yep.
Well, geez, I won't
look at me. I'm writing them down now.
You're getting it done. All right,
okay,
I'm ready.
So these are we've got a multiple choice one and then a non-multiple choice. So the multiple choice one, we'll do it how we always do. Marge decides to go into business selling what snack treat?
Oh God, falafel? No.
You want the multiple choices?
Hey, well, hang on. I'm just thinking. There's that one where she goes to the franchise fair thing or whatever.
Yeah, you're on the right episode. What does she sell though? And it's not falafel.
It's not falafels, but I'm just thinking. I remember the falafel part. That's why I was like falafel. I don't think it's cupcakes because I'm thinking that's what Francine sells in American Dad, and I don't think Marge sold cupcakes as well, but she could have. Wow, you're just hearing all my really nerd.
That's okay. I like it. We're hearing your process.
Is it pretzels?
It is pretzels.
Yes.
Great job. Great job.
I had to filter through the levels to get there. Is what I got there.
Yes. I love your very British inflection with that question. Is it pretzels?
Is it pretzels?
Okay, second question. This one you just got to know. No multiple choice here. Who said, quote, "You may remember me from such dates as last night's dinner"?
Troy McClure.
What a toughie we gave you there. Huh?
That was a hard one.
Okay, and let's check out our character bio from our Simpsons World Ultimate Simpsons Guide, seasons 1 through 20. I say it every episode. You guys, if you go get this book. Okay. I say it's big. I say it's heavy. We've never really done a video of it. Maybe we'll remember to do it this time. If we don't, no big deal. It's very big.
Oh yeah.
But
I'll remember.
For those of you that don't need the visual there, I will just tell you that this book, including the glossary, is about 1,200 pages.
It's a big book.
It is a big book.
And it's not like a thick book that has like small pages. It's like encyclopedia sized.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they're big pages.
It's weighty. Yeah.
You could beat someone with it.
Okay, so the character bio is for the veterinarian, unnamed.
I love it.
Just the veterinarian. His occupation is saver of sick and injured animals. His personality is intense. His appearance is a dead ringer for Ben Casey. His unconventional quirks are occasionally poses as an MD, has a basketball hoop over the wastebasket into which he tosses dead animals. His fees are expensive. And his quote is, "It's times like this I'm glad I flunked out of dental school."
I love it. That's
Thank
a good
you,
one.
Ben Casey.
That's a good one.
Okay, we can rate it.
All right.
You want to rate it first?
Sure. I'll rate it first. All right. So before we started recording, we had a little conversation where I talked about how this episode maybe not my favorite is because it makes me sad. We kind of talked about that at the beginning of the podcast as well, right? Like it gives me sad vibes because I've had dogs and I've had dogs that have been sick and stuff like that. So like because you mentioned this, like you, I often skip this episode. It's not one that I really rewatch.
Yeah, it's not like we're skipping it because we don't like it. We're skipping it because it just makes us feel sad. which
Yeah,
it's meant to do.
it's
That's
meant to do that.
it's a tearjerker.
Like, and I think well, I know you said this because I obviously re-listen to our podcast sometimes, but
Huh.
um,
I'm flattered.
but um, it I don't really go to The Simpsons to have my emotions like brought up in sad ways and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's not my go-to. I'm not like I want to feel emotions other than laughing. I will go and watch The Simpsons. I'm not saying it's a bad episode. If it's just like if I'm just thinking about The Simpsons in general, it's just kind of like, yep, I'm not watching this one. I'm gonna skip it. But that being said, there are some great pop cult like this one is packed full of pop culture, like including all the books that end up in the fire and the Michael Jackson stuff and the
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange stuff and that TV show, the old TV show. Like there's tons of pop culture references in it, and I always appreciate and enjoy just tons of pop culture stuff hidden in an episode. I really, really do. Um, I also like that the writer guy puts his name as one of the counties. I like all that little stuff that happens in it. I'm glad that Santa's Little Helper is fine in the end and he's all happy and life is good and stuff like that. Uh, if I try to rate it without emotions, I'd probably give it like a 2.5. But because it's one that I always skip and I choose not to watch it, I'm gonna say that for me, it's a 2. Like it's a solid 2. It's I think it's well done. It's just not an episode that I particularly like, even though I appreciate it. How's
Yeah.
that? Does that work?
I think I was a little more lenient on it probably, but not much. Same. I really don't have anything to add. That's just exactly right. It's like if you've ever lost, it doesn't even have to be a dog. It's just particularly a dog. But if you've ever lost a pet, you don't like to be reminded of it. In
No.
fact, I don't think he listens to the show, but this isn't any slight against him at all. Tall Paul, my good friend,
Yeah.
when my dogs died, they died within like 6 months of each other.
Yeah, I was
And
really close.
he ordered me these they're like basically metal Pokemon cards with my dogs on them. And he
Aw.
customized like the moves. So like one of my dog was a big snarler and wiggled his butt. So he had that on there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, but they didn't come in forever. So like
Yeah.
maybe like another 6 months later, he was like, "Hey, I'm over here at this grocery store. Are you nearby? Meet me over here. I want to give you something." And he gave them to me and I cried right out in public.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you
Yeah.
just like you never know how this stuff can come back and affect you. And I truly at one point when Santa's Little Helper first fell back in love with
Oh,
Bart,
yeah.
he's just like, yeah, I was just like, yeah, that's I want my dog to love me like that. I gave
Right?
it a 2.45. So I mean,
Yeah.
we got decimal.
We're
I
pretty
haven't
close.
used
Yeah.
it a lot. I didn't.
2.45.
I felt like 2.5 was too high. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
also felt like 2.4 was too low. So that's what this was perfect for.
You're like 2.45.
Yeah. So it brings our averages a little closer because mine was a little high before. So
Yeah.
we're getting our averages over the season, but the first like 8 episodes weren't you picking. So season 4
No.
will be our first season where we get
It's all us.
100% from your average. Yes.
Yeah.
There is
You'll see
one
how harsh
episode
I
that you and
am.
I forgot to rate that we'll go do on the side and we'll put that in
Oh
here.
no. Did we?
Yeah, our second ever episode together.
Oh gee.
Yeah,
Oh
we did
no.
rate it.
Oh no. No, we rated it. We rated it the next episode
Oh, I need to go find it there then.
at the
That's what I need to
beginning.
do. Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Because at the beginning,
I
you
love that
point
you
out that
remember
we
it.
forgot to rate it.
I have the worst podcast brain where I'm like, all right, recorded that. I'm never going to listen to that again.
Yeah, because I'm like sitting there. I'm like, do. I'm like, oh yeah, we rated it after.
Yeah, okay. All right. I will go grab it from there. But yeah, it is it's a sad episode that I generally skip, and it's not because it's a bad episode, it's because it's a
No,
sad episode. It's a
because it's
great episode,
sad.
like you said.
Yeah.
I like to find the little things and oh shit, you see that? Like, but I also I don't want to feel like shit.
Oh,
So
yeah, 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 exactly. It's just like there's lots of good Easter eggs in there, and there's the Simpsons on Simpsons references, right? Like the "Have you seen my body?" The
mhm, mhm,
the
mhm.
running shoes. I
Yeah,
think
the
there's a couple more
assassins.
too. like I don't even think that's all of them. I think there's one or two more when I was reading something, but they were really, really small things, so I kind of forgot about them.
Yeah,
But like it is well done. My rating is based on my personal
that's what
preferences,
this is. That's what
right?
this show is. So
Yeah.
that's how we are rating things.
Fuck you and what you think.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're just giving you, and at the end of this season, Kristen and I have been kind of talking about stuff, but we're going to be doing a little more when we hit end of seasons than Greg and I did, which was nothing. Uh, so
Yeah.
we have some ideas where you guys are going to get to kind of see some of these statistics. You're going to get to see, some of the things that we talk about that kind of have become ideas that are going to be shows themselves. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. We're gonna
and
be
we're not
doing
far out. We've got,
some
I
spinning
think,
off of things.
yeah, after this, we have 5 episodes left in this
Yeah,
season,
we're
I believe.
almost
So,
there. Like we're almost there. But like our plan is to do like before moving on to season 4, we want to kind of close up season 3 and like talk about some of our favoriteest episodes and what we rated things and all that. So hopefully you guys like that because we want to do more
but
stuff
also,
like
if you
that.
fuck you again.
Yeah. Fuck you. This is our fun. You can either be here for the fun or not, you know.
And if you want to find more fun, check out our social medias. We are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube. We're basically posting daily. I think I said it last week, but the great thing about our social medias, in my opinion, is that every week, it's like you're reliving the 90s, right? You get to
Yes.
see the promos, you get to see the clips, you get to like, if you have Disney Plus or some other way to view the Simpsons, maybe you got the DVDs, lucky. You can watch these with us and you can just get thrown back. Everything I'm going to post, I have some ideas to instill a little nostalgia into our page that's non-Simpsons related. I don't know how it'll work out because anything I do that's not a Simpsons clip gets like 1/50th of the views that are just Simpsons clips. So
So just watch all the clips, okay? Don't be
please,
picky.
we're trying.
Including the clips of us talking about stuff.
Those are
Watch
the
those
most
clips too.
important for you to watch. God damn it.
But also share them with your friends if you thought they were funny and tell your friends to
100% that.
subscribe.
And if you're listening to this and you've listened to this far in, thank you guys so much. Like
Yes, thank
this
you.
isn't
You're
some
awesome.
up show where, we're two mildly famous people who are, have thousands of fans to pull from who will come in and at least give it a shot. We're just two regular people who know a couple people and who are telling everybody we can about our god dang Simpsons podcast. So
Yep.
if it seems like we're professionals and we got this shit locked down and we're getting tens of thousands of downloads, wrong. Tell people about it so we can spread the word, and we can say that.
Support us just by spreading the word and following us on YouTube. I mean, YouTube's a great way to, like I said before, YouTube's a great way to support us because if we can get up to like 500 followers and a bunch of shorts watched, that gets us monetized, and that can help pay for us to be doing things like paying for storage and paying for editing stuff.
And if you're not like wildly particular on where you absorb your podcasts, we do have, it's audio only still, but you can listen to the show on YouTube as well. So
yep.
Go check it out, guys. Check us out. Kristen, is there anything else you'd like to add to this episode or social media grams or anything like that?
Thank you, all you wonderful people. You are the bee's knees. You are the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I appreciate you. That's what I got.
I agree with everything she said. 5 episodes after this till the end of season 3, and we get to bring you some kind of cool, non-exactly Simpsons episode stuff. So if you guys are excited for what we're doing now, I think you're going to be excited for that. And thanks, Kristen, for hanging out, and everybody for listening.
Thank you, Jesse. Bye.
Shh. You don't tell me to shush.